Good morning. Sergeant First Class Reginald Knight, retired, reporting. In this edition of FAFO, Arkansas Republican Governor Sarah Huckabee has been rebuffed by Donald Trump asking for FEMA disaster aid. As you well know, a few days ago, an outbreak of tornadoes in Arkansas, Mississippi, and Missouri left more than 40 people dead. Donald Trump and new Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem, the one that posed with prisoners in El Salvador wearing a $50,000 watch, turned their request down. In Arkansas and Mississippi, one of the poorest states in the union, are going to have to find some kind of way to come up with the cash to help their citizens rebuild from this tragedy. Now, we are just on the cusp of tornado and hurricane season. Let's see how Floridians fare, who also voted in great numbers for Trump, when those tornadoes and hurricanes start to hit their state. We tried to tell them, folks. I tried to tell them. And now they see that Donald Trump only cares about one thing: himself and what his bank account looks like. So for the short term, that's a no, Arkansas. And, what's really surprising is Sarah Huckabee was his communications director in his first term. I thought they were really chummy. So if he doesn't give a crap about her, what do you think he cares about you? Exactly. Sergeant First Class Reginald Knight, retired, reporting. If you like my videos, please like, share, and follow me on YouTube. Have a good day.
Oh, Sarah Huckabee Sanders is big mad right now because her and the state of Arkansas are getting exactly what they voted for. Because you see, last month, 14 tornadoes touched down in the state of Arkansas, devastating multiple counties, destroying businesses, and sadly taking the lives of 3 people and injuring dozens of others. But you see, the state of Arkansas also voted for an administration that wanted to leave disaster relief up to the states. So I'm not even sure why you guys applied for relief funds, but you did, and you were denied. All right, they said it was nothing outside the realm which your state and local agencies could handle. So I don't know what they're seeing that you're not, but it might be time for you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get to work. Your state depends on you. You're the one who led the way, telling them that this administration was going to be great for your state and your country. I don't know. I voted for federal relief fund, okay, because I don't want your state to suffer. But hey, you voted for hate, and those 15 people can't play field hockey now, so I guess it was worth it in the long run. Good luck.
Arkansas gets denied by FEMA, FAFO, or just bad timing. Shout out to the original video creators and everyone who stitched this moment. You make the internet the circus it was born to be. Let's dive into the rest of the video, and we will be back for commentary.
I know a lot of people disagree with me on what the federal government is for, but one of the most critical functions of the federal government is responding to natural disasters. And Arkansas has had flooding and natural disasters in the last month from tornadoes, and they've needed dire assistance from federal government. Governor Sanders, if you don't remember, was the press secretary for President Trump. And she has been pleading with him. She has shown him loyalty, and she has been pleading with him, but Trump says no. The Trump administration responded that based on the available information, that you have enough resources in the state and local governments in order to respond to these natural disasters. But Governor Sanders is still pleading with the president to declare a state of emergency so that they can unlock federal funds that will provide critical care to families and people in Arkansas who are hurting from the natural disasters that they have experienced. And this just shows that even loyalty to Trump does not engender any sort of rewards. Governor Sanders has been loyal to President Trump her entire time that she's been in office, while she was the press secretary, and now while her state and the people that she is charged and has been elected to protect, who need so much care, are not getting it because President Trump does not care and does not show the same loyalty that other people show him.
Before there was Caroline, there was Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and ooh, I hated that bitch. Now, while I do think that Caroline with 3 Ks has stepped up the condescension game from behind that podium, Sarah Huckabee Sanders was like the OG of WHRBF. She is now the governor of Arkansas. And Arkansas just had a bunch of storms and tornadoes hit and caused a lot of damage. 40 people died. So after years of being faithful and so loyal to Trump, she goes to him and asks for FEMA assistance for the people of Arkansas after these horrific storms. And y'all, he denied it. He said no. He said that's the state's problem now. All of that responsibility for any disasters that come up, that's going back on the state. But where's that money coming from? And she actually appealed his denial. In a letter directly to Trump, she says, without the support of a major disaster declaration, Arkansas will face significant challenges in assuming full responsibility and achieving an effective recovery from this event. You're not going to be spared from the ramifications of his policies if you voted for him. Even the people who were his spokespeople aren't being spared. He doesn't care about anybody but himself.
You know, when people talk about the Electoral College, they say things like land doesn't vote, people vote, and there's this big conversation about who does and doesn't vote when it comes to that, right? Well, let me tell you who actually doesn't vote, and that's children, immigrants, felons, people who don't have the ability to get to polling places, a myriad of people, right? We cannot keep this FAFO mentality with entire states. There are so many people who cannot vote. There are so many people who didn't vote because didn't understand. And that's wrong, right? We need to be informed. We need to be educated. But here's the other piece of this, right? Arkansas, we're talking about Arkansas here. Where do they rank on education? I can guarantee you it's not top 10. When people are not educated, when they don't know better, when their main source of knowledge is typically their church or their local news station, which is typically not in favor of blue and democratic ideals. I get it's really, really easy as a white person or someone from the middle class or someone who hasn't had certain struggles. I get it's really easy to say, oh, fuck around, find out, fuck around, find out. There are too many people who didn't fuck around. There are still blue voters in Arkansas, whether you want to admit that or not. You say you're a liberal, but if you didn't vote for this, there are other people that didn't vote for this. There are more people than just you and your tiny bubble of what you know. And I know sometimes that's really hard for people to understand. I'm not making fun of you. I'm not criticizing you like that. I am trying to actually educate people because they so often leave out the children, the disabled, the people of color and minorities who have way more trouble accessing certain things as a means to voting. We have to think about those people. Those people matter too. We cannot keep up this mentality of, oh well, you did this to yourself. That's how we got here. We like it or not, somebody has to be the safety net and somebody has to lead everybody out of this. It has to start with us.
Welcome back to Sparkle's show, where satire and reality link arms, put on a storm wig, and walk into the eye of the drama. Today, we take a twister ride down to Arkansas. Yes, Arkansas, the land of natural beauty, fried foods, and, apparently, natural disasters with no federal backup. So here's the scene. A devastating tornado hits Arkansas. Homes, flattened, lives, uprooted. And Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders goes knocking on FEMA's door for help. But FEMA, like that one cousin who never pays you back, said, nah. Cue collective. FAFO. Gasp. The very governor who stood shoulder to shoulder with Trump and his rugged individualism is now finding out what rugged actually feels like: cold, windy, and lacking federal assistance. Oh, but the internet had time. Some folks pulled out the FAFO chant like it was their Sunday hymn. Y'all voted for less government, now you're getting none. Hope your bootstraps are waterproof. Brutal? Yes. Hilarious? Also yes. But we're here to unpack, not to point fingers. Not everyone is cheering. Others online said, wait a minute, not everyone in Arkansas voted for Trump. Some people are just caught in the political crossfire, trying to rebuild their homes, not rehash election maps. The argument, human suffering shouldn't be partisan. Fair point. If your house is in pieces, the last thing you need is someone pulling up your voter history before offering a tarp. So what's the deal with FEMA? Was it budget logistics, a technicality, or just political karma with a thunderclap? It raises the deeper question. When a government runs on small government values, what happens when small government doesn't show up? Was this denial poetic irony or a bureaucratic blunder? Governor Huckabee Sanders, for her part, seemed shocked. Like FEMA is the friend you don't invite to the party, but still expect to bring cake. But politics is a performance, and sometimes you find out the spotlight only shines one way. Arkansas is having the day it voted for, or so some say. Others say, stop dancing on disaster. And us, we say, welcome to America's latest reality show, Tornado and Tensions, FEMA edition. Whether you're for, against, or just confused, remember, this is the Sparkles Show. We bring the glitter, the shade, and the storm warnings. Drop a comment if you've made it this far. Throw a tornado emoji if you're watching in Arkansas. And always, credit to the brilliant originators and stitches of the videos that brought this to the light. Sparkles out.